Ahoy and welcome back to my channel. Some of you may have seen this before. This is my Sci-Fi Druid blaster that I created with the help of AI. The tutorial for it has been online for almost a year now, and I thought it was time to make a new, bigger, better and prettier version. So here it is, my Sci-Fi Druid blaster tutorial 2.0. Enjoy! I started working on the concept for this project last year, and many parts have been rotting in my stash of craft materials for almost a year now. You can find cheap water guns at dollar stores, which can be disassembled and repurposed perfectly. Once again, I used AI to generate some designs and overlaid them on photographs of my water guns. This allowed me to plan out the proportions and how the different parts would work together. First, I removed some material from the water gun to create space to attach this part later. This is one of 3 energy capsules that I will be incorporating. Next, I disassembled this water gun into its individual parts and attached a thick piece of styrofoam inside with an unhealthy amount of hot glue. And then something incredible happened. The 2 water guns fit together perfectly. It must be divine intervention. And if you like what I'm building here and want to support me and my channel, I would greatly appreciate a subscription, a thumbs up and/or a comment from you. Thank you so much for your support. Let's continue. I stuffed aluminum foil into the gaps to create a relatively even surface, which will be easier to cover later on. This piece looks futuristic enough, so it earned a place at the end of the barrel. I cut out the basic shape of the grip from 2 cm thick styrofoam and attached it to the water gun with plenty of hot glue. For more stability and safety while carrying it, I used 4 mm thick foam to connect the styrofoam to the water gun. I added more foam to the styrofoam to create enough surface area for the foam clay. Then I beveled the edges to make everything look more organic, making sure not to lose the grip's stability. I removed the water tank and faced a big challenge. I wanted to hide a power bank in the rear part of the cannon to power 2 string lights. In the end, I removed a large part of the water tank but kept the screw cap. I was able to attach the rear part easily and hide the power bank. I made a template and transferred it to 4 mm thick foam. I attached the foam with hot glue inside the water tank, well, what was left of it. As you can see, I colored the inside of these green energy capsules, which were just parts of a small spray bottle, using green acrylic paint. This not only hides the power bank later, but also gives the capsules a mossy nature look. Then I grabbed 2 string lights with color changing functions and remote controls and tried to figure out how to attach them to the blaster or cannon. I tried to mirror the 2 sides to make everything look uniform, but quickly realized it was impossible. I was okay with that because the surface can look random, just like in nature. This process took forever since I had to remove a lot of material inside the water gun before I could thread the string lights through. I didn't film that part, it probably wouldn't have been that interesting to you. I stuffed many lights into this capsule to make it glow properly and attached it to the water gun with a lot of hot glue. Then began an endless journey. I attached the string lights to the water gun with duct tape and secured everything with hot glue. This took forever, I'm telling you. The light seemed a bit too harsh, so I tried to soften it with this film. Hot glue to the rescue. I added more aluminum foil to even out the surface. I covered the visible styrofoam with 1 mm thick foam, making the surface ready to be covered with foam clay. I grabbed my soldering iron and burned uneven random holes into 2 mm thick green foam. I heated the entire surface with an open flame and pressed aluminum foil into the soft foam, giving the surface a nice texture. Then I covered the back with transparent tape. I cut the foam into pieces and attached them to the cannon with hot glue. Later I sealed the open spots with green window color. I attached transparent caps to some of the light points, which later will be decorated with ceiling rings and green window color. Back to the power bank. I used this screw cap from this drinking cup to securely store the power bank inside the cannon. This way it can be easily replaced. That's the theory, at least. So I removed everything I didn't need and then tried to put my plan into action. With some 4 mm thick foam and hot glue, everything worked out quite smoothly. A part of the closure found a place in the rear section of the cannon, and the counterpart could be easily removed. I attached a few more water pistols and toy elements and could finally move on to the next big step: foam clay. Foam clay is always super easy to work with, and using modeling tools I gave the surface more texture. I made this piece from various layers of foam and a plastic disc. For once I didn't attach it to the cannon with hot glue, super glue seemed more appropriate. This piece, made from foam clay worms and a layer of foam, was also attached to the cannon with super glue. Then I added a few more foam clay worms. I imagined them as small, thin branches that conduct energy through the cannon. I let everything dry overnight and shaped more fake wood the next day. Thicker branches that spread across the entire cannon, or blaster. With my soldering iron I gave the foam clay a wood texture. It didn't need to look super realistic. It's a sci-fi fantasy cannon after all. Once again I mixed craft glue, black acrylic paint and a lot of brown acrylic paint to get a nice primer. I applied this mixture very generously to all surfaces. Well, except for the parts that will still light up. I mixed a dark grey tone and painted the parts meant to represent metal. Then I used a sponge to apply silver acrylic paint to these elements to make them stand out. I grabbed black watercolor and diluted it with a lot of water. I then applied this mixture very generously over the entire surface. This step highlights the depth and folds, making the surface look more interesting. And then the time finally came. I could use craft moss again. I love it. It makes a huge mess, but I still love it so much. So I applied craft glue where I wanted to attach moss and let everything dry for at least 2 hours. This step is perfect for covering ugly transitions or edges, especially here with the capsule at the center of the cannon or blaster. Once everything was dry, I gently brushed off the excess moss. The leftovers, of course, will be saved. Now for the final step. I sealed the entire surface, except for the moss of course, with acrylic varnish to give everything a nice shine. And my Druid Sci-Fi Cannon or Blaster 2.0 was finally complete. Thank you so much for watching and sticking around until the very end. I hope you enjoyed this project as much as I do, and I'd love to see you again next time. Until then, take care.